Beyond the Erdtree's roots, hunger waits. Gwyn kneels, shadowed by Ranni's distant blue flame, a pyre not of hope, but of hollowing. The pale blood moon swells over cracked stone, its light fragile as a vow. This is the hollow feast, a ritual where liberation carves your name into the tree's blackened heart. What becomes of a soul when freedom demands you let the flame consume your humanity? The Erdtree does not burn chains, it burns you. What if breaking Marika's cycle demands you become the curse you seek to end? Beneath Leyndell's shattered spires, the frenzied flame writhes a god not of fire, but of hunger. Its liberation is no triumph. The Erdtree's architects wove this paradox. To shatter the egg, you must first become the yolk. Every incantation carved into the tree's roots whispers the truth. The flame does not grant freedom, it grants fuel. You trade your name, your shape, your self for a pyre that consumes all it touches. The Erdtree does not reward defiance, it feasts on it. Can a soul survive the feast it helps to feed? The lands between do not hunger for saviors, they hunger for sacrifice. What waits beyond the flame's reach is not dawn, but ash-cold, silent, infinite, and still the question burns. The frenzied flame devours more than flesh. It hollows the soul, a silent pyre where the self is kindled to feed the Erdtree's endless hunger. The lands between fracture not from Marika's shattering, but from what follow at a ring's splintered vows, her children's borrowed light snuffed one by one. Godwin's stolen death was the first crack, Renala's twin moons dim, Radagon's crown a mask for ash. The Tarnished, outsider and mirror, walks this ruin not to break the cycle, but to complete it. To burn is to become. The flame's feast is no triumph, it is the final offering, the unmaking of all that remains whole. The Erdtree does not hunger for saviors. It hungers for the fuel to sustain its hollow throne. What the frenzied flame liberates is not the lands between, but the last vestiges of the self that dared call this a cage. The fracture deepens. The ring's ghosts whisper in the embers. To defy Marika's legacy is to wear her curse like a crown. The age of fire ended not with a roar, but a Saya star collapsing inward. The Tarnished stands at the pyre's edge. To step forward is to become both wick and shadow. The question was never how to end the cycle. The question is whether the ash can remember what it once was. The frenzied flame is not a savior, but a shrouded leviathan buried beneath Leyndell's foundations. Item descriptions call it a force that devours order itself, not a liberator. The Erdtree's root-like structure those tangled, pulsing vein channel its hunger. Every spark of its liberation is a ritualistic unmaking, a sacrifice demanded by the very cycle it seems to break. The flame does not burn to free the lands between. It burns to feed the Erdtree's hunger for tribute. Consider the geography. Leyndell's capital sits where the flame is caged, its golden spires built atop a prison. The Erdtree's anatomy reveals a labyrinth of conduits, each leading to a void. The flame's consumption is not chaos, it is a precise, ancient calculus. When the flame frenzies, it hollows the self, peeling away identity like ash. This is no hero's ascent, it is the Erdtree's design, to trade one tyrant's order for another's. The cycle does not end with Marika's fall, it refashions itself. The flame's victims become part of the rootwork, their essence woven into the tree's next bloom. To wield the frenzied flame is to become both wick and kindling. The lands between are not saved, they are unmade, then remade as fuel. What if the Erdtree's true name is not a deity, but a hunger? The flame is its mouth, the cycle is its breath. To break it, one must burn not toward freedom, but inward toward the core of the self, where the first spark of order begins. The price of ending the cycle is not victory, it is annihilation, and yet the question remains, can the ash remember what it once was? The Erdtree does not wither, it consumes. Its roots are not roots, but coffins, each a vessel for the stolen flesh of the first flame. What blooms from this rot is not life, it is a hollowed god forged in the fire of stolen souls. The Tarnished are not saviors. They are midwives to a birth that is a death. You are recalled not to end the cycle, but to perfect it. The grace you restore is not rebirth. It is a shroud, the chosen few you revive are not liberated. They are reanimated husks, fed on the same hunger that hollows you. You wanderer are not breaking a cycle, you are its next verse. Every flame you kindle is a pyre for the self you once had. The frenzied flame does not burn away chains, it burns away the thing that yearned to be free. The Erdtree's hunger is not a flaw, it is its purpose. To feed it, you must become what it devours, a body without a name, a will without a face. The cycle does not need a hero. It needs a host, and when the final ember fades, the lands between will not sing your name, they will not remember you at all. Many call the frenzied flame a hero, they speak of liberation, a final strike against Marika's hollow throne, but the Erdtree does not fall, it transforms. Its roots drink the host's soul, its branches rewrite the ash. What is burned today will bloom tomorrow. The flame's victory is a mirror, the same cycle dressed in soot. You were told the Erdtree is a prison, yet its hunger is not tyranny, it is inertia. Crushes, and yet its hunger is not cradles in turn. Inertia to set it ablaze is to feed it a new face. The lands between do not break free. They burn brighter, then dimmer, then burn again. The flame's followers howl of breaking chains, but chains are only visible when you stop fighting them. The Erdtree stands or falls not by your sword, but by how deeply you let it consume you. The host's agony is not a rebellion, it is the ritual. The tree does not need saving, it needs a body to keep its heartbeat. And here is the truth no incantation will soften. The frenzied flame is not your triumph, it is your epitaph etched in fire. When the embers cool, the world will not sing your name, it will never have known you. The tree's memory is a circle with no beginning, and you were always the fuel. And the deeper question remains, the flame does not liberate, it consumes the weight of choosing. Link, fade, usurp, each act is ash, not answer. The tree's hunger is not ended, it echoes in your hollowed bones, what remains when the cycle's shadow becomes your own. The hunter's blade strikes not to shatter, but to complete. The frenzied flame's glow is not defiance, it is the Erdtree's breath in your throat, its roots coiling through your veins. You think you burn the goddess, but you burn yourself. The ritual is not in the killing, it is in the becoming. The eclipse child's hollow eyes mirror your own. You have seen her in Rhea Lucaria's archives, where the nameless king's whispers curl like smoke. His riddles were not warnings, they were invitations. To wield the frenzied flame is to drink the tree's poison, to let its hunger carve your soul into a vessel. The scent of charred bone clings to you now. Do you mistake it for triumph? It is the tree's signature, etched in ash. Marika's children fell not to violence, but to the weight of their own divinity. The princess of Rot, the deacons of the deep, each was a spark, a fracture in the golden lie, and you, outsider, are the final spark. The tree does not need your sword, it needs your will, bent like a branch until it snaps. Your victory is the tree's harvest, your freedom its feast. The hunter's path was never yours to choose. You were shaped in the forge of dying gods, your purpose written in the scars of the Erdtree's bark. When you stand at the tree's heart, your flame will not consummate, will merge. The light you carry is not yours. It is the same that devoured Melania, that hollowed the Maltese. A borrowed fire, a borrowed name. What remains when the cycle's shadow becomes your own? Nothing. Only the tree, ever hungry, ever eternal. Your act is not liberation, it is the final stitch in the tapestry. The frenzied flame does not break the cycle. It is the cycle, and in its hollow feast you are both guest and sacrifice. The frenzied flame's searing light is no salvation. It is the Erdtree's final, most elegant Russia hollow crown that burns the self to fuel the eternal. To grasp the flame is to surrender to a hunger older than Marika's name. The lands between do not yearn for liberation. They demand a price paid in kind, your essence distilled to ash, fed to the roots of the world. The flame's contest is no accident, it is a mirror. Every tarnished who dares to link, to fade, to usurp each act, is a thread pulled from the same tapestry. The ritual unfolds in 3 acts, the sparks touch, the unraveling, the feast. When the flame claims you, it begins with a whisper in the marrow. A searing sweetness floods the veins, dissolving the boundary between flesh and fire. What feels like strength is the tree's venom, leaching identity into a vessel of pure want. The liberation is the self's slow combustion. You burn not to break free, but to become fuel. The Erdtree's branches do not wither when set ablaze, they bloom. The cycle's gears grind on, powered by the unmaking of those who sought to end it. The choice link, fade, or usurp is a lie of agency. To link is to become a conduit, to fade is to dissolve into the soil. To usurp is to wear a crown of thorns that bleeds your soul dry. None end the dance, the flame's hunger is the dance itself. The lands between are a mausoleum of would-be saviors, their hollow eyes aglow with the same borrowed fire. What does the Erdtree gain? A chorus of voices, each believing they've won. The reading that most honors the text is this: the frenzied flame is the tree's mouth. And every tarnished who grasps it is the meal it has already digested. The fire's hunger is not metaphor. To clutch the frenzied flame is to feed the void that birthed you. What remains when the chains and the will both ash? A hollow, a vessel, a feast the Erdtree gnaws without end. The lands between do not reward the bold, they reflect. Every strike against order fractures the striker. The flame's light is not escapate, is the chisel that chips your name from the tree's roots, your essence kindling for a blaze that knows no satiety. Name from the occult roots liberation, the kindling fur, the hollow feast is no triumph, it is the final tax. The tarnished who grasp the flame do not shatter the cycle, they become its latest verse. Their rage, their purpose, their very self, devoured then offered back as fuel. What does the next age look like? A mirror, the same branches, the same hunger, the same tarnished again and again, mistaking erosion for emancipation. The Erdtree does not need to destroy, it only needs to endure, and in its endurance it unspools you. Does the fire burn chains or will? Both, always both. The flame is no savior, it is the tree's tongue, lapping at your resolve until there is only resolve to lap back. To fight the tree, you must become the tree. To break the tree, you must first be broken. What do you grasp? What do you flee? The next step is not a choice, it is a continuation. The fire waits. The frenzied flame does not liberate, it consumes. What the Erdtree calls transition is a hollowing, a reshaping of the self into kindling for its endless feast. The age of fire was never an ending. It was a door left ajar, a whisper in the rot. To burn the tree is to burn the mirror. What remains when the flame dies? Not freedom, not rebirth, a void that echoes with the same hunger. Madness here is not a curse. It is the price of seeing. The tarnished who grasp the flame do not defy the cycle, they become its throat. Insight and unraveling are the same path, 2 steps on a spiral that leads nowhere new. The Erdtree does not need roots, it needs sacrifices. Every victory is a seed planted in the same soil. You think you break the chain, you tighten it. Survival in the lands between is not triumph. It is endurance, a carrying of the weight, not its lifting. The flame's frenzy is a mirror for us all. How many among the living fight to unmake what they suffer, only to find their rage fuels the same dark? How many victories are just new kinds of waiting? The tarnished's choice is not a beginning, it is a continuation. A hollow feast, yes, but the hunger was always the point. The Erdtree is not evil. It is not broken, it is a question with no answer, a circle that eats its own tail. And we, outside the story, are no different. We call our flames hope, we call our cycles progress. What does it mean to be alive, if not to burn? To burn and still burn, though the light you make is the same as the shadow. The fire waits, and so do you. The pale blood moon hangs as a wound seared open. Its silver crust cracks, bleeding amber. The frenzied flame does not glow. It devours its own light, a hunger gnawing inward. Below, the lands between writhe, stones weep, trees twist roots into question marks. What order once held the world? The Erdtree's brittle fingers now ash in the wind. You think this chaos a victory, the hollow feast is no banquet. It is the tree's final hunger, dressed as revolt. Marika's cycle did not beg for breaking, it begged for body to fold into its hunger. The flame's touch leaves no scars, only absence. A knight who burned for freedom becomes a wraith, hollow as the oaths they shattered. Their voice fades first. Then their name, then the memory of what they fought. Liberation, a lie the flame tells itself as it unravels. The Erdtree does not die, it digests. Every spark of defiance swallowed, reshaped into another branch, another law. The flame is the tree's mouth, the flame is the tree's thirst. You stand at the heart of it, whole and broken. The fire in your veins is not your own, it is the tree's old patience, waiting to unmake you. To burn away the last fragile eye that dared to dream of dawn. The frenzied flame burns away, order itself a liberation that consumes the liberator. Whispered, fading, the frenzied flame burns away, order itself a liberation that consumes the liberator. The Erdtree does not hunger for victory, it hungers for recurrence. You Tarnished are not saviors but cogs in a ritual older than rot. To restore grace is to feed the cyclier Liberation a spark in its endless pyre. If breaking the tree requires becoming the flame, what then separates martyr from monster? The Three Fingers Gambit awaits. Marika's game is not a trap, it is a mirror. Return, unravel